Hello, Stacy. Thank you for jumping on.
Hello, Raymond. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Well, it is a pleasure to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk to Me, the show where I get my friends to talk to me. Today, I have Stacy. Now, this is a brand new friend of mine. How brand new are we talking, Stacy? Well, I'm just meeting you right now.
That is the case. Yes. We've only just first chatted about 4 days ago, guys. So
yeah. Pretty much
that quickly, and they can be the bestest friends. Who knows?
Hey, who knows? We've got endless possibilities right now. So, Stacy, how'd you hear about us? How'd you hear about our small little community, our small little show?
Well, firstly, your mate Bao, he told me about how he was on a podcast and he said, go have a listen. And I'm all about supporting my friends. So I went on and I checked out the show, and yeah, it was awesome to see him like chatting about things with you, Raymond. And I'm like, oh my God, I'd love to be on a podcast like that. And then here we go. And like,
there it is. And it happened so quickly. All I got was a text message from Bao saying, hey, I want you to talk to my friend Stacy. She is awesome. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And then that was it. One, two, three, here we go. So Stacy, why don't you introduce yourself to the people? Tell them who you are. What do you do? Who's Stacy?
Well, hello, I am Stacy Voulgaris. My background is Greek. So I'm full Greek, but don't look it. I probably look more Aussie than Greek. And I'm a personal trainer. I've been doing that for the past 5 years now, and I love it. It's been it's been an interesting journey from that first year to now. And it's so nice to look back at the growth. You wouldn't ever like the things that you thought, like, how do I explain this? Yeah, you've never, like, when you hop into something, you really don't know where you're going to end up, but you just have to start and then you just go along with it and then just give it your best shot. So
what got you into personal training? What took you down that path?
So interesting. So just like Bao, I never knew I was going to be a personal trainer. Went to university because, that's what you do as a WOG.
That's the go-to straight after school.
Yeah, they go, that's what you go educate yourself. I'm like, okay, I get you, but I don't really know what I want to do. So I went to uni, did my first semester, first 2 weeks, and I was doing full time. And then I just couldn't, it was nothing like I could get into. So
what were you studying?
I was going to do an arts degree.
Okay.
So you don't even know what you're actually doing in an arts degree. You're just
figuring it out. Yeah.
Studying. And that's just not how I do things. So I could never find any purpose in it. So I dropped 3 subjects and then just studied Greek because I was like, may as well learn some Greek.
Oh, nice.
And it could go to my uni degree if that was the case. And I will be happy with myself. So why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone?
Nice.
So during that month of university, I just did it, just went along with the flow, was working at Woolies, and coming to the end of so I was doing part-time for like that whole year, and coming to the end of the year, I had this moment. I remember being in the lounge room, and I thought to myself about, I looked back at my whole year, and I remember thinking to myself, Stacy, you're a person that loves to go all in. Like, why aren't you going all in? And it was because I just had no drive to do it. Like, there was no energy to go all in on it. So then I was on Instagram, funny enough, and I have this Instagram role model, Elizabeth Lopez. I don't know if you've heard of her. Have you heard of her?
I haven't, no.
So she's like a fitness role model at the time, and she's all about the feminine curves, and that's how you get into fitness usually. It's about the body. Yeah, and sure. And I was like, oh, I love what she does, and I love her business model. She has this hourglass workout. It's a franchise model. And then I thought to myself, why don't I open up my own franchise, like hourglass franchise?
So that was very good.
Yeah. And
from that to open up a franchise, love it.
I don't know. Yeah, you can
nice.
And then first step, I was like, okay, what do I have to do to actually get there? And I'm like, I have to become a personal trainer. And then boom, that's how we started.
And how long have you been doing that for now?
So I've been doing it for 5 years, and I've actually met Elizabeth Lopez within those 5 years, and I interned with her for 10 months over in Canada. So I was living overseas for over a year. And yeah, and I got to experience the whole concept. And going over there, I didn't actually decide to take on it and bring it over here, but I definitely learned that whatever you set your mind to, you can do it. So that's what I learned through that experience.
Okay, because you said that you're the type of person that sort of goes all in, and mate, from that story alone, I can tell you went all in, and you went all in fast. I mean,
Yeah.
Is that just everything in life? Do you think that that's just how you have to roll?
I think definitely, yeah, you just have to go for it, because sometimes you can just get doubt in your head, and that's just, you know, the words of the enemy, as we say it in church. But yeah, so I had a mentor during that time when I was working over at Vision. That was my Vision personal training. That was my first place I worked at. And I told them about my goals. And one thing that they said to me, Stacy, they're like, you just got to pick a date and do it. And these people are up there, they've got their own businesses. So I'm gonna listen to these people as a 20-year-old. Yep. So yeah, I just took on that advice and then just went for it, and I got the internship. So I'm very thankful for those people.
Okay, so you go over there, you do your internship with the person you look up to the most in this industry. You come back, at the time, and you come back and you're just sort of like, okay, I've just done something sort of insane. I've spent 10 months overseas with someone that I only looked through on a screen, and now you're back. What's your next step? What do you do?
What's my next step? Well, I come back home, zero money in the bank account, because I was living off ends meet. In Canada, you only make like $12 an hour.
Oh, dead set.
And like I remember living off like $800 like 2 weeks, and most of it was going for rent, because I was like, I'd rather live in a nice place and not have any regrets and eat like
you do it right. Yeah, you do it right. And that helps with the whole fitness thing as well, not eating too much. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Two birds, one stone. Love it.
Went there, and yeah, what were we saying? Yeah, and then come back, no money. So someone offered me a job straight away at F45. So went to F45 because I knew the person, and I was lucky to just work there for about 6 months. And during that time, I decided to open up my own little business, and that's how we came to Strong by Stacy. Well, it used to be Stacy Be Fit, but the Strong by Stacy business you see today.
Well, I've taken a look at what you've done. Strong by Stacy only came about recently. It used to be Stacy Fit before that, and then Strong by Stacy was your name change only in the last couple of months or so?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, why the name change?
Because Strong by Stacy means so much more than Stacy V Fit. Stacy V Fit was the girl that just again, I went all in. I was like, my sisters actually told me, just open up your own Instagram account. I'm like, all right, let's go. And then that's how like Stacy Be Fit came about. So it wasn't really thought through. It just was like putting myself out there as a different authority rather than just a person that, you know, just finished high school. So at least have some sort of platform. And yeah, it changed to Strong by Stacy because I wanted just to be all one brand and like just promote myself as that rather than being confusing. I'm like, who are you, Stacy?
Okay, so when you grew, your page sort of grew with you. I like that. That's really cool. So ladies and gents, make sure you follow Strong by Stacy on Instagram. And mate, you've done well in the last couple of years. I mean, you got 2,000 followers there, and your whole method and your whole story is about empowering women, helping women become the best selves they can be. What was it about that side of fitness that sort of spoke to you personally?
Well, I feel like the fitness industry is so like saturated with the same stuff. So just working on like calorie deficit and you know, weights training. And I do love I love weights training. So I love resistance training. That's my thing. But I don't want to just be known for the girl that lifts weights. I want to be known for the girl that impacts lives by, you know, getting more deeper into people rather than just the surface level of, yeah, looking good. But there's so much more to it, which you can learn from actually being in like following a program and a nutrition program. There's so much skills. As have you been an athlete before? Like training hard, and you know the deal. Like there's skills that you learn. Okay, you are training, but there's discipline involved.
Yeah, it's more of a
There's
mental game than it is a physical game for sure.
exactly. Did you have to problem solve along the way?
I mean, I broke my leg training once, so that was fun. So there was a bit of problem solving there.
That would have been interesting in the training. So you had to train your mindset during that time. So you took that time, instead of working on your body, you took it to that mental state that you need when once you get back into the game, you can actually go in without any fears. So there's so much to it.
100%. Well, I love that. And I mean, just side note, I love the fact that it's no quick fix. I like that you do have on your website saying, listen, we're not a quick fix. We're not a diet fad. We're nothing like that. It's all about hard work, because that's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
but a fun way to it. So you can have fun along the way.
I like that. I'm going to guess you're not on the same page as Bao by saying, you know, take a chocolate bar on your walk with you.
Huh?
I'm going to guess you don't take chocolate bars on your walks or anything like that.
I don't do that, but I do love a chocky. I do like a chocky. Okay.
Bao's advice to the people last time he was on was take a chocolate bar with you, enjoy it. Okay, Stacy, so there is a lot to you. So right now you're at, I'm going to get the name wrong, Fitness Playground in Marrickville.
Yes.
So ladies, if you are in the Marrickville area, look Stacy up. She, from what I can tell, she does some awesome work and her clients love her. But Stacy, there's so much more to you than the whole, you know, the fitness side of things. I didn't really want to get into that today. I just wanted to get to know who you are. So where'd you grow up? What area did you grow up in?
So in the West, I don't know if you've heard of it, Concord.
Concord, yes, down the street.
Yes, near Bellwood and Strathfield. So I've been living here for most of my years. Strathfield North was my first school in primary school.
Nice.
So I went to Strathfield Girls for high school time. And being like, this is such an area full of family. So I've got really strong family values. They're super important to me. I've got two sisters. I'm the middle sibling. Are you a middle sibling?
I am. I'm the second one. Yeah, second of four. Yes, there we go. Done. Love it.
That counts.
I'll take it.
We do get neglected, but I think we're the strongest ones.
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, in the Lebanese household, the oldest son, for some reason, gets a lot of the eldest responsibilities.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a lot of that too. So it's a bit of both, you know what I mean?
Okay, best of both worlds.
Yeah, 100%. So growing up in a Greek family, you tell your parents, listen, I'm dropping out of uni, I'm pursuing PT.
Ooh,
what are their thoughts?
That was heavy. Like, legit, like, I don't want to put my dad down because he's a great man, but he just didn't know any better. Like, he doesn't know what personal training is. Like, he doesn't think that's a career path that you could go. And so, of course, I had some battles along the way, which is expected, but it doesn't matter. That's okay.
Well, listen, to his credit, it is a hard industry to crack into. I mean, so many people jump into it and then jump out because of how hard it is to crack.
Yeah. Definitely, I can agree to that. And I did have a backup plan, of course. So nice. I was like to myself, and I'm going to go all in.
Okay.
Again.
Nice.
Like, this is a perfect time
it's on my shirt. I didn't even realize that. There you go, mate. It all worked out. I love it.
I love it. Okay. And then I was going to go 100%. And if it didn't work out, I had a uni degree. Like, I had a uni position that I just deferred.
Okay.
And that was to get into the health. I don't know I've even forgotten the subject.
Yeah.
But I was going to become a sports teacher. Let's just say that.
Okay. Those who can't teach sport is what I've always been told.
Exactly. So that would have been me. But I'm teaching still. Who would have thought this girl that wasn't the best at high school? Definitely I wasn't a person that got the best grades, but I just had belief in myself. So that's just one thing you need as a person that might not be like seen by the public as like a person that will go somewhere in life, but you just have to push through those times where people might be saying things about you. You just have to remind yourself on who you are and what you're here to do. Yeah.
How hard is it to push through that though? I mean, because that's some, like you said that at the start, that's one of the things that a lot of people do struggle with, is trying to do something different, I guess,
Mm.
and block out everyone's negative thoughts and opinions about it. How do you block that out and push through that?
For me, I always went to the like to not like this thought pattern I was lucky enough to have. I'm not here to prove anything to anyone else. Like,
Okay.
I'm not here to prove to anyone else. I'm only here to like do what I can do. And like whatever people say about me is just a suggestion. They're just suggesting that I'm this type of person. So I can take on your suggestions or I can like leave them.
That's a
But
very cool way to look at it. I've never looked at it that way. What you're telling me is a suggestion.
yeah,
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Thanks. What about you? Tell me about you.
I mean, with me, it was just either listen to it or ignore it. So I just took the I took the side of let's make a joke about it and move on. Really, so that's what we do.
Yeah, true. That's another one. That's another way to do it.
Pretty much. It's probably not the healthiest way to do it, but it's definitely working so far.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so Stacy, on top of all of that, you're a Christian.
Yes.
Okay. And I want to get into what it's like to be a Christian in the fitness game. But before we do, how'd you become a Christian? When did that all go down? What happened?
So this happened actually, yeah, it happened 2015. So that would have happened 6 years ago. And I thought during that time, I didn't believe in God. I didn't know if there was such a thing. I was, it's questionable being grown up in a Greek Orthodox household. We go to church on Friday, on Good Friday, Easter, Christmas, like maybe a Saint's Day, maybe my name day,
Yeah.
So I never actually could connect to it. So I never actually understood it. So I just didn't really believe in it. I just thought it was like a traditional thing to do. Until it happened in 2015 when I had a moment when I decided to pray, and like for some reason, this is when I was 19. I remember this happened in October when I was 19, so that was 6 years ago. And I decided to pray to God, and I was like, oh, I need an answer for this question I had.
What brought you to do that? Sorry. What brought you down that? Like, what made you just be like, okay, I'm going to pray?
Who knows?
Really?
I always I thought it was my reasoning. I thought to pray, but actually I reckon God just said pray this moment. And in that moment, that 1 week, all these supernatural things happened. Like, of course, I could say coincidence, but I believe it wasn't a coincidence. And it brought me to the answer that I wanted or needed. It didn't know that I wanted it, but I just obeyed that answer. And then from that day, that's when, after that answer, I followed through. And then that's actually how I got the vision. Remember how I was talking back downstairs about what to do? I've never had that in my life.
That was about that same time frame.
That same time, around like that time. Yeah. So I knew, like, of course, during the time when you're a baby, like you don't even know, you think it's your own idea. But if I look back, it was definitely not my own idea. It was God's idea. Okay. But yeah, that's my start of my journey. And then when I was in Toronto, so during that time in 2017, that's when I fully gave myself to Christ, when I was at church in Toronto. And I remember that sermon and I was like,
how'd you find that church? How'd you end up going there?
It's funny. I went to a C3 church in Sydney, and the girls said, there's C3 churches everywhere. You can go to one in Toronto. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. And then I'll check it out. So being there, I decided, I remember, that they said there's a church that you can go to. And then pretty much that's how it happened.
Wow. And then you got saved when you were there. You gave your life to Christ, and
it just went from there. Okay. And then God just did some magic work when I was on my own.
So interesting, because you've come back from Toronto now. Life's completely changed. I'm going to assume your life is completely different to what it was prior. How do your parents take it? How does the family take this change in your life?
Definitely, like, it's confusing to them, because sometimes I could be saying these things and I'm like so excited about something and they're just not getting it, and they're just like not at that level. And then I'm like, and I used to get frustrated at the fact that, why aren't you understanding this? This could actually, like, this is the best thing that you could ever have in your life. Like, if you just want to just at least, you know, put some time to it and actually listen and and read and study and all these things, but they never got it. But then I just realized, hey, it's okay that they're doing their thing. Like, maybe this is, they'll have their own timings. But for my dad was the worst, actually, because he's very strong and he's like, you know, his mum's Greek Orthodox, the family, like, you know. So when I decided to get baptized only last year, that was something that happened in the house. But it was upsetting that my dad just didn't see the person who I was, like this person who's got her own business, like, you know, successful in the field, helping so many people, is like this bright light to people. But he didn't see that. He only saw the fact that, hey, you're not, you know, sticking by the Greek Orthodox tradition. And that's what hurt. But of course, I've forgiven my dad and I accept wherever his path is on, and I'm going to still be me. And hopefully one day he will just understand, but I'm just going to, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, everyone goes through something like that, especially in traditional households. I mean, we were the same way. When we all ended up becoming Christians, you know, the family wasn't on board with it. They didn't understand it. And you can sort of get it because, you know, it's such a different thing to leave the religion that you've grown up in and your whole family's grown up in and all that sort of stuff. But that's the great thing about God, is that he doesn't judge it that way. He just tells you to pray and let him deal with it. So that's
definitely sit still part when we talked about the start.
That's it. See, it just all comes back around. That's how we do things here. We make sure it all connects somehow.
I love this. So good.
So Stacy, you've become a Christian. It's been 6 years now. What was the biggest thing that sort of, I guess, affected you in that way, if that makes sense? Like, what's the biggest life change in regards to that? There's the salvation part of it and Christ saving you, for sure. That is obviously the big life changer. But what personally has it done to you, you know, as a person?
For me, the biggest thing I could say would be the identity. I had major identity issues as a person in high school. I was a follower. I followed people because I was happy if they were happy. And I just did things that, you know, because, you know, everyone else wants to do it. I'll follow them. If someone called me, like, you know, you're this type of person, I believed it because, you know, I was getting my identity from others. And it's so beautiful to look back at it. And like how I was saying, it was just a mere suggestion. Like when people talk to me, I wish I thought like that before. I was a suggestion, but now I just know, you know, my identity is in Christ. So whatever he says I am. So I just take that and then roll with it. I walk in that.
That's awesome. So if there are other teenage girls listening to this right now and they're falling into that identity crisis, because it's something that all of us do. I mean, it's something that a lot of people do struggle with, especially in high school. High school is such a fishbowl. And you think it is your whole life when you're in it. It's not until you step out of it that you realize none of it mattered, maybe except the degree. What do you say to those high school teenagers that are struggling with that right now, the identity crisis?
Well, definitely we need to sit still and figure out, what do you actually desire? Do you desire to actually stay in that position of getting called whatever people are telling you who you are, and listening to that and consuming that? That's first. Like, if you want to just keep to that decision, you're going to stay there. But if you decide you want to follow who God says you're going to be, stick to that. And then firstly, after you do that, like, find out what things do you need to eliminate in your life to actually, so you can keep on going to that desire, following through with that desire. So that might be the environment that you're in. So you might have to get rid of some friends, which is harsh, but God's going to provide you the friends. So just remind yourself on that. You might have to eliminate the things that you watch, the things that you read, like the things that you listen to. Like, it's going to be a journey, but take one step at a time. And yeah, you're not going to be perfect straight away, but you're going to be progressive. I love that quote, progression over perfection. That's my like life motto. So like just take little bits of your life and just know that you're transforming into that person God wants you to be.
And slowly work on it. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not in high school no more. That ain't happening. So you're in the real world. How's it being a Christian what do you think it's like being a Christian in the real world today? What's your thoughts on the current climate of being a Christian in Sydney?
Well, definitely people just don't understand it. Mm-hmm. Like as a person, I walk into work and not many of the workers are Christians, or like, you know, and it can be hard because you're just like, why can't people just understand? But as the Bible says, like there's going to be lots of people like that, and we just have to always walk in excellence every day and have compassion for these people. And during this lockdown, I've learned that with compassion, you do have to have that zeal. So like you have to stop being passive so people can actually know that you're a Christian, because I can easily walk down the street and people can know me just as Stacy, that bubbly person, and that's really positive, but they actually don't know that I'm a Christian, and that's actually hurts because like it's not the case. Like I want to be like, you know, known for that person that knows Jesus and wants to help people like know about Jesus. But so definitely a learning journey, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's one of the hardest parts about being a Christian. It's something that a lot of people struggle with, is being so comfortable in that. You know, there's so many, I know for me, it only happened probably 5 years ago where I was just, I don't care who knows, I'm a Christian. I love being a Christian. It changed my life. I want it to change yours as well. And it's not until I guess you get to that point where honestly, life gets a lot easier in that regard, because you're no longer stressing out over, do I need to hide it from this person? What if I offend this person? No, it is who I am. It is who I am, and I'm proud of that. Yeah. And what about the workplace?
It's exactly what you're saying about that, but we can go on back to that. Like people say that they're like, you know, vegetarian, they're like pescatarian, they're like this, they're that. Like, why can't we just walk in that's confidence as God tells us to walk in, and he's got us. Yeah. Like we're going to get it's definitely a struggle, but it's like.
Well, if you watch last week's episode, ladies and gents, we actually talked about the same thing with Jacob, in that I think Christians gave too much ground. I think we were just too passive. We didn't really care about spreading it. We just let things go to the point where it's now embarrassing to be a Christian for some reason. But we need to stand for Christ, have the zeal that you were talking about earlier, and allow him to make the difference and do the work.
So true. Yeah, no, it's no more like, my friend said this to me, it's like the 11th commandment, like people are making up, is like just being nice to everybody. Like it's interesting. It's interesting because he calls us to fulfill the Great Commission, to spread the gospel, and you can't do that unless you start talking to people and letting them know. You know what I mean? Definitely.
Okay, so the fitness industry, it's a tough one. It's a hard one to be in. It's a hard place to be sometimes as a Christian as well, trying to stand out and, you know, stand for what you believe in, things like that. What's it like being a Christian in the fitness industry?
It's very interesting because, like, I think because as a coach, you're so one-on-one with people, you know, you're very good at questions as a Christian. So like you're very intuitive with people, and people think you're like, you know, like you just, how do you know this? It's like,
did you take some sort of course?
But God just gives you all these questions to ask people. So it's always so amazing. Like people always say I'm a great person that asks good questions, and that does help in the industry. Yeah, walking in the industry, you can easily want to be like everyone else, look at what everyone else is doing and like just follow that, but you just really can't be that person. Like easily I can have so many more clients but then give a service. I'm not about that. I'd rather actually have my clients and give them the best I can, and then if I can feel like I can bring more people on, I'll do that. Another thing would be like in the industry that like what last year lockdown changed for me was I followed the game of you have to work 6 days a week to be successful in the industry. It's not the case. Like you don't have to, you don't have any time for God during that time. Is that really successful?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Because I've always heard from PTs, like the biggest struggle about being a PT is you're working 18-hour days sometimes, and you're working around other people's schedules and not your own.
Yeah, exactly that. And you just have to, I swear by this. Once I said to myself, I'm not going to work Saturdays and I'm planning out my schedule. God gave me more time and God brought me people. And because God is your provider. I'm calling the Lord my provider. So he will bring me the people that I'm meant to influence. And I believe that's why my business is flourishing, as well as the excellent, like he's trusted me because I have, I put in excellence with my clients and the programs I place out. But 100%.
It's about giving him that priority, right? It's about putting God first and then allowing him to dictate everything else.
Yeah.
And I think that's, especially living in Sydney, one of the busiest places on earth, it's so easy to get caught up with the rest of life, family, friends, work, hobbies, sport, whatever it is, that sometimes God takes the back burner and he sits on the back. But it's not until you place him in the forefront and say, okay, I'm not going to negotiate these terms. You know, church is my priority. God is my priority. My time with him is my priority. And everything else follows. He'll reward that. Yes. And it sounds like he's done exactly that in the business that you're running.
Mm-hmm. And what are your thoughts on the industry, like as you see it, like from like a bird's eye view?
Oh, well, I love going to the gym. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's the thing I do that lets me just go and release stress. So I go to UFC in Bankstown. So that's my favorite place. One of my favorite places on the planet at the moment.
Are you a boxer?
Yeah, do a lot of boxing. I don't like I love MMA, but boxing's always had a special place in my heart.
So you and Bao.
Yeah, probably from when I was a kid. Dad and I used to watch old Muhammad Ali fights.
Nice.
On Fox Sports. So I think that's pretty much what stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love the fitness game because it depends on the coach, really, in my opinion. If the coach's whole purpose is just to get it done, move on to the next client,
just make money.
Yeah, it's rubbish. But when you've got coaches that actually care and want to see you succeed, not just in your fitness game, but in everything else, it impacts. It does. I mean, I think the best coaches know that it's not just about the physical, it's about the mental, the spiritual, everything else in between. But being a Christian that goes to the gym, I think it's easy to fall. I think it's one of those places that you really need to be on guard. You know, you can drop your testimony so quickly. So you need to be careful. You need to be watchful. You need to be prepared, you know. So that's what I think about the industry. I love it. I think it's great.
No, I can see that you can be very, I guess it's all about physical when you go walk into the gym. People see you and it's all about the way you look or whatever. And like, people don't look at your heart. So
it can be so easy to get vain very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, but that's on you and your relationship with God at the end of the day. In my personal opinion, everything about that is based on what you're doing with God. If you're not putting the correct guards up to make sure that you're not listening to the music you don't want to be listening to, you're not having the thoughts you don't want to be having, or you're not looking at the things you shouldn't be looking at, that's on you and your relationship with God. You can't blame that on anyone else, but the guards that you put up in your life with God.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's whatever you just like put in the light. And
That's
then
exactly it.
yes, no, so true.
So what's next for Stacy? What's in the future for Strong by Stacy?
Well, Strong by Stacy, well, for me, I'm building up the systems in place. I haven't really said this, but like one of my goals in life is to open up my own franchise model. So
Really?
like my own one.
Okay.
So what I'm doing right now is like with my girls, I'm like getting these great results, following a system in place, putting a system in place. So once I do have that franchise model, I can take what I've made, like the systems that I've made, and put it into that model. And then it's already like produced results. So I already know it's going to work. It's just putting it in a bigger setting.
Okay. So there
that's
we go.
one of my goals. So like hopefully this is prophetically spoken.
I'm loving it. Well, hey, we got to talk to me exclusive, ladies and gents. Strong by Stacy is franchising. Loving it. And what about you, Stacy? What's going on with you? What's in the future for you? What's your goal in the next 5 to 10 years?
So something fun that I've been doing this year is Samba, Brazilian Samba.
Okay.
So I'm actually, the goal is at the end of the year, I'm going to do my own, like there's a concert that my dance teacher, if it does go apart, like if it does follow through, I'll have my own solo in this
okay, there you go.
Concert. So
why not? Love it.
Yeah, why not?
That's
something
cool.
different.
Yeah, it's something different, especially during this lockdown when you can't do too much of that. How do you deal with lockdown?
I don't get bored. So I always find something to do. I don't like saying busy. So if you talk to me, I'm not going to say I'm busy. I'll be saying I'm using my time well. Okay. So I'll still do I love my walks every day. So I'll get out and about around the area, and only just last month I've started incorporating weights again. But yeah, I've just been reading. I've been watching like a random show on Netflix. Okay, I don't know if you've heard of the show. Are You Human?
Is that the one where they're polling a bunch of people?
No, it's like it's a really random one. Me and my mum have been watching it together, so like a little bonding thing, and it's in Korean.
Okay,
but,
yeah, definitely not. No.
Yeah, it's in Korean, so we're actually reading subtitles.
All right. Hey, it's different. Hey, why not?
It is different. So been watching that, and yeah, drinking tea. Eating chocolate. I still eat chocolate, guys. I'm not that type of trainer.
Hey,
but,
listen, chocolate bars have been they're all chocolate wrappers in my house at the moment. So they're all
okay. What's your favorite chocolate though?
Listen,
okay.
You can't go past Snickers. That's the number one. That's the OG. That's
I don't know. No, Snickers. Nah. Okay.
What's yours?
There's people that are Snickers people. I'm not a Snickers person. Picnic, whatever. So if we grab the favorites box, I'll give you all the picnics. Okay. Perfect. Does that count?
Yeah, sure. What are you going for then?
I go for the Boost. The Boost chocolate.
Okay. Yep.
So you get a bit of everything. You got a bit of crunch. You get a bit of caramel, and then you got the chocolate on the top.
Sure.
Or I'll go for just like a normal chocolate, like just Cadbury milk.
You can't go wrong with the normal Cadbury, you know what I mean? Like that's quality. All right, Stacy, last one before we wrap this thing up.
Okay.
I asked this to every single one of my guests.
Yeah.
I give you a DeLorean. I send you back 10 years.
Okay.
You go to Stacy 10 years ago. What's your one piece of advice to her?
For me, I would have just reminded myself, work harder on yourself than your job. So I would have had the advice that just keep on working on yourself, because school finish, and you only have yourself after. So if you keep on growing, that's the best advice I would have given myself, because I learned that when I was 18, and if I got that 3 years ago, it would have even been better. So
yeah, 100%. There you go. Well, Stacy, once again, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. Where can the ladies and gents find you on the social media world?
You can find me at Strong by Stacy on Instagram, or you can even find me on Stacy Voulgaris, and that's just my normal account. And also, I dropped down on, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say Twitter, but no, I only do some stuff there.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if too many Aussies use Twitter these days, to be honest.
No, I just do it for fun. Like I just do a little
retweet here and there. Nice. Well, ladies and gents, you can find me at Ray Haddad 97. Make sure you follow, have a chat with Ray and Stat. Follow us on all the social media networks. Like and subscribe to the channel. Like this video, share it around. Let us know who you want on next. Stacy, thanks so much for talking to me.
Thank you. It's been so much fun. Okay. And I hope you guys enjoyed the content. And yeah, talk to you soon.
See you guys.